Jenny, I'm going to stop smoking when I finish this pack of cigarettes.
Good for you, Bob. But why are you telling me?
To help me stop. When I tell all my friends, then I won't dare to smoke in front of them.
Why do you want to quit? I thought you liked to smoke.
I do, but it's getting so expensive. And now that I'm jogging, when I run, I can hardly breathe.
I'll help you quit. Whenever you want a cigarette, call me, and I'll take your mind off of it.
Thanks, Jenny. I'll do it.
Bob, why don't you stop now? You don't have to smoke the rest of that pack.
I just bought it. I don't want to waste my money. I'll call you tomorrow.
American Indians grew and smoked tobacco before Columbus came to America. The tobacco industry has been large and important for America's economy ever since colonial farmers grew tobacco for export 300 years ago. Even today, tobacco is grown in large quantities along America's eastern coast. Since the 1800s, the most common form of smoking tobacco is in cigarettes. Men and women of all ages smoke cigarettes, and there are dozens of brands sold in the U.S. Nearly all cigarettes now sold have filters. Pipe smoking has some popularity, and cigars are usually only smoked by older men. Over the past 15 years, many people have stopped smoking. This movement away from cigarettes began when lung cancer and other ailments were linked to smoking. In the 1970s, when taxes on cigarettes were greatly increased, cigarette smoking became much more expensive. Since the late 1970s, physical fitness has become a major aim of millions of Americans. These three factors have been the major causes for many people to stop smoking. Today in the U.S., cigarette smoking is restricted in many ways. When smokers are in restaurants, on trains, and in public buildings, they may smoke only in designated areas. When they are on public buses, in theaters, and in classrooms, they may not smoke at all. Cigarettes are not advertised on television or radio. A notice is on every package of cigarettes sold in America warning that smoking is dangerous to health. These regulations have reduced cigarette smoking very much since they were instituted. Smoking is on the decline. Dad, did Grandma go to the university when she was young?
No, she wasn't encouraged to do that.
Why not?
Well, at that time, it was considered improper for a woman to have a higher education. Grandma got married when she was 18, and she spent all her life taking care of her husband and the kids.
You mean she never had a job?
No. Women were told that they could not have a family and a career at the same time.
Mother could. She has a family, and she is also a teacher. Isn't that a career?
Yes, time has changed. Nowadays, women are permitted to do things that they were not allowed to do before.
America has been called a democracy since its independence more than 200 years ago. However, at that time, only men were permitted to vote. Only men could own land and practice most professions. Women could not get a higher education or hold public office. The woman's place was considered to be the home. Working women were not common. They usually had poor jobs and little respect. Through the history of our country, many American women have worked to reduce the restrictions that society placed on them. They have met opposition. Slowly, however, the opportunities for women have increased. Colleges and universities were established for women. Later, women were admitted to schools originally established only for men. In the early part of this century, American women were finally allowed to vote. During and since World War II, American women have become a considerable part of the American workforce. Today, many women in America hold important positions or are pursuing careers that they could not pursue in the past. But many women are dissatisfied with the current situation. They point out that women are often paid less than men for the same work they do. The top positions in nearly all fields are still overwhelmingly held by men. In many ways, a woman's life is still dominated by her father or her husband. Recently, women worked to get an amendment to the U.S. Constitution guaranteeing their rights. The Equal Rights Amendment, as it was called, was supported by most congressmen and most states. It did not get the support of 2/3 of the states, which is necessary for a constitutional amendment. Nevertheless, the role and the rights of American women is an important concern in the U.S. today.
Mary, I don't feel too well. I have a stomachache.
Well, you shouldn't have eaten all that pizza.
I didn't have that much. Besides, it might have been something else that I ate.
What else did you eat?
I had a salad. Something in the salad could have upset my stomach.
Maybe, but I had a salad too, and I feel fine. What kind of dressing did you have on your salad?
Just oil and vinegar.
Then I don't think it was the salad. It must have been the pizza. Anyway, I hope you feel better soon.
Thanks. I think I'll lie down for a while. The favorite food in the United States is the hamburger, a kind of round sandwich of cooked ground beef. The favorite place to buy a hamburger is a fast food restaurant. At fast food restaurants, people order their food, wait a few minutes, and carry it to their tables themselves. People also take their food out of the restaurant and eat it in their cars or in their homes. At some fast food restaurants, people can order their food, pay for it, and pick it up without leaving their cars. There are many kinds of fast food restaurants in the United States. The most numerous sell hamburgers, French fries, and milkshakes, which are traditionally popular foods among Americans. In addition, fast food restaurants that serve Chinese food, Mexican food, Italian food, chicken, seafood, and ice cream are very numerous. The idea of a fast food restaurant is so popular that nearly every kind of food can be found in one. Fast food restaurants are popular because they reflect American lifestyle. First, they are not formal restaurants. Customers wear any type of dress when they go to a fast food place. Second, they are fast. People who are busy do not want to spend time preparing their own food or waiting while someone else prepares it. In fast food restaurants, the food is usually ready before the customer even orders it. Finally, most food in a fast food restaurant is not expensive. Therefore, people can afford to eat at a fast food restaurant often, while they may not be able to afford a more traditional and more expensive restaurant very often.
I miss my folks. I wish we could see them.
Well, if they lived closer, we would see them more often.
If we owned a bigger house, they could live with us.
You know they would never do that. They would feel that they were intruding.
You're right. But I wish I were with them now. Let's go visit them.
All the way to Florida? We could if we didn't have to work and if the kids didn't have school.
Maybe they will come to visit us when it gets warmer.
I'm sure they will. Maybe we can go there to see them this summer on vacation. Meanwhile, why don't you call them on the phone?
I just did. That's why I miss them so much right now.
People over the age of 65 in the United States are called senior citizens. Life for these people is different than for younger Americans. Most senior citizens retire or no longer work full-time. Also, it is unusual for people of this age to live with their children and grandchildren. Grandparents tend to live in their own houses or apartments away from their families. For many senior citizens, the years after 65 are not enjoyable. They feel unproductive when they no longer work. Their lives lose meaning. In addition, they may feel lonely being away from their families and the contacts they had in their work. Moreover, they become more concerned with their health as they grow older. If they live in big cities, they often worry about their safety. Other senior citizens enjoy their lives. They feel free to do things they were not able to do when they were working and raising families. They now have time to enjoy hobbies and sports and travel. They associate with their fellow senior citizens who have common interests and equal free time. Many senior citizens move to retirement communities located in warm climates. Some senior citizens continue to work beyond retirement age. Many find new careers and professional opportunities after they retire. The number of senior citizens in the United States is increasing rapidly because people are living longer than before. The average lifespan for Americans is now more than 74 years. Because of their larger numbers and more active lifestyles, senior citizens are gaining social influence in the country, both politically and economically. Their concerns are receiving a wider audience than ever before. The time may come when all Americans will look forward to becoming senior citizens. When did you decide to be a school teacher, Kate?
When I was in grade school, I had a teacher who I liked very much. I wanted to be like she was.
What made her so special?
She used to make things interesting and exciting to learn.
Like what?
If you had heard her history lessons, you would have thought that history was fascinating.
If you had been in our history, you would have found history very boring. Our teacher just taught names and dates.
If I had been in your class, maybe I would have become something besides a teacher.
If I had been in your class, maybe I would have become a history teacher instead of a gym teacher. Compared to the history of China, the history of the United States is quite short. It began little more than 200 years ago. In 1776, 13 colonies located on the eastern coast of North America declared independence and fought a revolution against the British. In 1783, the colonists won the revolution and gained their independence. After the revolution, the United States bought a large section of country from Napoleon of France. This purchase doubled the size of the United States. Napoleon needed money for his European wars. If he hadn't needed that money, the United States might have stayed a small country. Texas, and most of what is now the southwestern part of the United States, belonged to Mexico. The people of Texas fought a revolution against Mexico. They became independent and joined the United States. Later, the United States and Mexico went to war. If Mexico had defeated the United States in that war, California and New Mexico would have been part of Mexico today. The British and the Americans both claimed the northwestern part of the country. They settled their differences with a compromise. South of the 49th parallel was the United States. North of the 49th parallel was Canada, which was controlled by England. In 1861, one half of the United States did go to war with the other half. This was the Civil War. President Lincoln wanted to free slaves. He was supported by the North, but opposed by the South. The South wanted to separate from the rest of the country and become independent. After 4 years of war, the South was defeated. Following the Civil War, the United States bought Alaska from Russia. At that time, many people didn't think that Alaska was important, but today it is the largest state in the country and a very important one, too.